Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is The Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games in a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is Pro Cycling Manager 2018, Career Mode, episode number 74. Still into our classic season here. Next up, we're going to Bruges, or at least out of Bruges, in the Dwars of Vlaanderen World Tour race. Traditional classic, flat for a while, but then it's going to get punchy, and we're going to hit a lot of cobbled sections, majority of them uphill. So this race is pretty intense. It's full of World Tour riders, so our chances of a clean victory are really out of reach. But Veldeman is good enough to maybe get some type of result out of this one. I don't really think we're in any kind of contention to win it, but maybe we can keep Veldeman around for that final grouping. So the rest of the team are going to be on support duty, all for team leader Veldeman. Unlike the last Classics race that I participated in, where I had hopes for Bax to stick around and actually be able to win a sprint and go for the victory, which ended up costing me. This time, we're just straight up riding for Veldeman because this one's much harder with much tougher competition. So we're just going to get the best result we can get our hands on. With that, let's go race it. Okay, Spolo already at the front. Voss. Okay, on the flat. Case Bowl is certainly better though, so let's go ahead and get you protecting Bowl. Speed it up a little bit. Here is Swerble coming forward. And nope, Swerble. I'm not trying to get you off the front here, buddy. Alright, here comes Veldeman. Swerble can protect him. Sorio. It's enough pull at the front that even though he's still on increased effort, he's not going anywhere at the moment. With an abysmal cobble rating, he's not going to stick around, so neither is Guyard. Van Ginneken is okay, so I'm going to use Guyard to protect Van Ginneken. We're going to keep Osorio around with his high resistance for a while. If he doesn't get himself dropped, then he could be used later on. Guyard. Guyard is not feeling so well. Let's see what his overall condition is, but it looks like it's balanced. Oh, there it is, 0. Alright, so we have 12 riders off the front, and they're still battling over whether those are going to be the 12 riders in the break. Gap is very, very small, but it's on the edge of being enough. But we're pulling them back. 39 seconds, 36. Still fighting, which is actually really bad for the overall. If we don't let up prior to the cobble sections, the fatigue is going to be too much, and we pulled them back. So those 12 riders do not manage to get away. I really don't have anyone outside of Veldeman that's capable of doing anything, so putting them in the break is just a recipe for disaster. They're going to blow up, so you need somebody who's at least competent on the cobbles to be away. Van Ginneken might be the closest one who could kind of hang in there for a while, but ultimately I just need full team support around Veldeman. It's a lot easier to manage. So instead of a 12-man break, we get a 2-man break, which is so much easier to manage. Those two get right away, and then as soon as they do, they kind of sit up going, oh man, really? just us. And they slow down. So it's Herman's, not Ben, though. And is that Caesar? Coming up on the first section already. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Slow down. I want to see this. 1.6K, 4-star section. Come around this corner, and there it is, partway up the hill. We're at 4 degrees right now. Everybody's at an 83. That's a little bit light. Let's hit a 90 here. But so much of this is all about position. I mean, look at Swerble and Veldeman just getting checked up by somebody who's going 0 miles an hour. Gouillard already is toast, but he's at least at the front. You can see just how much damage this section is doing. 4 riders have split off the front, and 145 riders have split off to the back. Veldeman, the only one who ended up making it through there with Van Ginneken. For now, I'm going to give Van Ginneken serving Veldeman. It's a huge gap at the moment. That is quite the hefty gap already. It's 2.5 minutes. I actually don't mind at all if none of this comes back, because then that really sorts out the race already and leaves a lot of teams with stronger rider support essentially down to nothing. So for now, let's put all these guys on auto, and even within this group, though DeVos, let's leave you protecting. As another split happens, the splits are just happening everywhere. And we literally have just 2 guys here. So Van Ginneken, let's get some water while the getting's good. 116K to go. It's just 25 riders in the peloton. And I love this. This is an ideal situation. We have support with our best rider on the flat and cobbles, besides Veldeman.
He crashed off and he's not getting up. Oh, I hope it isn't too serious.
And in this scenario, in this situation, which just came to an end, and now we see attacks, Swerble, where are you going? Swerble's trying to join the break. He is on auto. What's the point here? Your cobble rating's a 62, and look at you just destroy yourself like that, trying to get away. What the heck was he thinking? Oh, AI. What is your fighter? It's a 69. I mean, I guess it's something, but I'm going to sit up. Swerble. That was just stupid. That was just totally dumb. So new break trying to form here as soon as the peloton comes together. It's at 96. Swerble with his sit-up is doing okay here. Nearly back with the peloton now, and somehow the peloton's back up to the entire group, 140. Just like that, back together through that section.
This climb is feared by many riders. The percentages are very
Veldeman, Van Ginneken at the front. These guys way too far down the order. I need to start bringing them forward and take over control again. 1.3K 2-star section. It's all too much to deal with now. Swerble has recovered. He is up there. Let's make sure he stays put. Does seem to be catching. Okay, Bull. You are being protected by DeVos. Let's bring you forward. Not at a 90 though. Osorio, same thing. Let's bring you forward. That's the back end of our field, so push those guys up the order for a while. But otherwise we sit on. So now there are 8 riders away. They have 3 minutes overall, but it is split up into 2 groups. And we're more than halfway through the stage, and here comes Bull and DeVos. So now you can sit up, stay put. And here comes Gouillard and Osorio. Nearly recovered. So I'm not a fan of the field coming back together, but at least if it is coming back together, I've got my entire team back together. But you can see just how tired Osorio is already through there, and Gouillard as well. So this is about to change.
A couple of teams have set themselves up as pacemakers for the pack.
There you go. There's a split. Now we're at 40 in the peloton. I like having 5 of 40. Is that better than 2 out of 25? Not certain. It's based on quality, but 2.1K 4-star section. Padistrat. And here we go, rolling on in. DeVos is looking pretty tired. Swerble could replace him soon. Swerble wasted so much energy in that attempt to join the breakaway that the AI decided he should participate in. Riders going out the back, getting swept up. DeVos is done. Swerble was dropped as well. Case Bull is hanging on here at the back end of the field. Bring him back up while we can. Oh, and Swerble's still there, or was anyway. Okay, so now it's down to 40. We're chasing 7. Picked up another rider somewhere, somehow. One more rider getting off the front. 3-star section coming up. And we're starting to see some big accelerations. It's still 76K to go. That's a long distance to cover. After this cobbled section, it's going to be quite some time before we see another. Let's make sure these guys don't get dropped here. It's a short section. 2 riders dropped. Yeah, 2 riders dropped. There you go. Settled back down. There are 18 that very well could get back on here in a moment. Here's the 7 at the front. Fellini, Lindemann, Cavagna, Van Hoek, Rim, Hermans, not Ben, and Caesar. So the 2 guys that were originally away have been joined by 5 additional riders. Here, Stuyven, Van Mark, Van Schip, De Wolf, Oss, Van Hemlin, Tony Martin, and we're seeing some attacks right now. Except Van Mark going for it. And we get some punchy sections coming up before we have all these cobbled finishing sections. There's 7 cobbled sections on the last 6 climbs of the day. We have 3 climbs in between. And these guys are trying to put a hurting in on the field right now, but I do not want to be the team to chase them down. I'm in the peloton. I've got to hope that that's going to be good enough and that stronger teams, World Tour teams, will handle the chase for now. Except Van Mark is one of the favorites, it looks like. Veldman's still looking good. Bull, Van Ginniken, not as strong. Let's get Bull on Veldeman for now because Van Ginniken is the other strong man. He should last longer, theoretically, and already is fresher than Bull, even though he's been protecting Veldeman a long time. So we'll switch that up, use up Bull first, let Van Ginniken hopefully recover a little bit before we hit those cobbled sections, and maybe he'll make it through a couple anyway before he gets dropped. Okay, minute and a half, there's the break. Nearly caught up to them. And the peloton just came back together. It's a group of 60 now. But some of those guys are still struggling to keep pace. So it's at 57, now 55. One more hefty climb before we get into the run to the finish with all those cobbled sections where it's going to just wreak havoc. Van Ginniken and Bull, not mountains guys. Veldeman can handle his own over those, but it's going to do some damage to Van Ginniken and Bull. But we're at the front. Here it is. Short and steep, 9 degrees plus. I didn't see it go above 10, but it must have gone above 10 for a moment. 53 riders now. Still a minute and a half. Case Bowl just hanging on. Van Ginniken isn't recovering, but at least he's not dropping. And we speed it up for a little while. Minute 23. Pretty sure those guys are going to get caught here relatively soon, but probably after the first cobbled section. Minute 10. Coming back at him.
Another attack in the leading group.
Caesar and Hermans, those guys really wanting it today. They're attacking the group that eventually had caught them. Oh shoot, 34k, I should have gotten water. Okay, here we go. 1.8k, 4 stars. Here comes the damage. It's time to put a hurting on. These next few they're all brutal besides 2. 5 of the 7. We've got 1 on the flat, 1 downhill. 5 of the 7 are all uphill, so this is going to be really rough. We got a couple of riders off the front going for the win. Where's Veldeman? Veldeman should be making contact with that group up there, not getting caught way back here.
The racers have to have the talents of a tightrope walker, as the grip of the tires can't be counted on. There's another rider with a puncture. The sides of the road are not a tire's best friend.
Okay, so Veldeman not in the front group. He is in a chase group. He did get left behind a little bit there. Let's get him water real quick while he can. Everybody else is now on their own. We ride with Veldeman to the end. So it's a group of 12. We're chasing now 7 at the front, 13 coming together. It's time to move up. He's caught behind these guys standing still. Can't get through. Jeez. 4 or 5 of those guys just dead in their tracks. Were not moving at all. So it's now a group of 8, but it's all split up in front of us. We've got one more big uphill section that we're about to hit. This will be a good chance to make a move, but the gaps are pretty big. There's the field. That group's coming together. 2 random riders here. Leftovers of the breakaway. And we are coming up on it. Let's get to the front. Easy, easy. Just be at the front. There you go. Come around the corner. Oh, Swerble with a puncture. Okay, Veldeman. Tack off of here. Let's bridge you up to another group. Okay, we're going to watch this. Watch this. Still uphill, and still taking this. Still going. Okay. It's starting to fade.
The riders really have to be vigilant on this cobbled section. The vibrations really take it out of you.
Alright, so he's caught Fellini. Left over the break. Another section coming up. I need him to recover a bit, though. 7 riders off the front, 2 riders in between. I now have a group of 4. Roland's, Tony Martin are here. This is now a strong group. Veldeman pulled back over a minute during that attack. 2 sections left.
Falling behind. A team leader is falling behind. This climb features some dreadful percentages. 15 kilometers remaining.
I'm just going to go off the front a little bit. Let them catch me. Around that corner, can we catch Lindemann? Bridge that gap. There we go.
That's another rider with a flat tire.
Yeah, that's okay that these 2 have recovered. I'm glad that they've caught me because I need the teamwork. We've got 14k to go, and we are working our way up the field. It's hard to tell how many there are now in front of us. There's at least 5 plus the front, so at minimum it's 6. 12k, we're running out of energy though to attack, so it's Roland's. He is not with us. He is somebody who's been lapped. as we're going around. This is a repeat of something somewhere. One of the climbs. Lindemann's caught back up. 10K to go. Let's use that gel. Just 2 stars, 900 meters. There's not much left here. But we're 3 minutes behind, so we're definitely not going to win this thing. But what can we do through here? It's an uphill section. I'm going to start my attack a little bit early. And now we attack in through the cobbled section. Not the only one attacking. Rollance is also going. Just passed somebody else, and we just left Rollance behind. Easy, easy, easy. Just getting the top. Ate up the last of our energy. I forgot it's still uphill to here. It's going to be a steep descent. So once we go over the top, it's okay that we're out of energy in a way. 5K to go. There's still at least 5 riders in front of us, as that's all coming apart together over and over again. Feldman just pushed to the end. We're 4 minutes behind whoever the leader is, so somebody's gone strongly ahead, and it's Jasper Stuyven. So Jasper Stuyven has taken the win. Sepp Van Mark has taken second. Wale's third. There's Wale's. So there's 4 riders in between us, which means we're fighting for 8th place right now if we can hold it. 1.7K. There's the descent. We should have 8th. Court Nielsen for Miersch. Daniel Oss. Van Schip. And there you go. Veldman takes 8th. So top 10 in a very elite race where we certainly missed the sprint off the front by the eventual race winners, but I think we made a very, very nice move in the middle of that finishing run where we bridged that big gap, pulled back a minute without much damage being done. We were very much feeling it on that sprint, and so I kept it up, and that huge gap that we covered made a big, big difference. And then the guys that we were riding with, Martin, Rollance, Lindemann, those were guys that, Fellini, those were all guys that I caught, passed, and left behind on the way to the finish. So we moved our way from probably 14th, 15th to 8th in that move. So happy with it. Didn't get there, didn't get the win. Van Ginneken hangs on for 37th of all places. But that still ended up being an excellent result, all things considered. What it could have been, what it should have been, one decent Classics rider on the whole team. Van Ginneken's not decent. Van Ginneken's one of those guys you would take there if you're a World Tour team, and he's one of the first ones you'd expect to get dropped. He's not your final support rider in a Classics race like this. So, Case Bowl, right? Maybe you bring him to a race like this. So, those 2 guys are kind of your end-of-the-line domestiques in a race like this. Definitely not your top support mid. So the others, Osorio, Gouillard, Swerble, DeVos, they'd never come to a race like this. So for the team, for what we are, for what we have talent-wise, a top 10 is excellent result. Let's see how much positive gain we get out of that as we wrap this up. Time cut already happened a long time ago, so whoever's coming across the line now are long since declassified for not finishing within the time limit. There's still a couple guys just dying out there, apparently. Ooh, down to 1. Oh, and there you go. He finally gets swept up by the broom wagon going, dude, you should have finished an hour ago. Come on now. Solo victory. That was a pretty brutal race. I mean, that was just damaging what it did out there. Win by a victory. Wale's and Van Mark come in together. 3.5 to these guys. Veldeman 4:16 down in the end. Now he was, what had been the gap? 4.5, and then pulled it back to 3.5, and then finished at 4:16. So, I mean, he lost that time again at the end. But in all of that, the other guys that were around him, they lost a lot more time than he did. I mean, it's very clear. We went from just ahead of Vincent van Hemelen. And remember, that was the rider that I did have that we left, right? No longer with the team. He was my only other. It would have been nice to have him, right? He would have been supporting Veldeman to that end. He would have helped get us there. We could have bridged at least to this group maybe and finished a little higher. But again, when you only have one, you only have one. But he wanted a big payday, and so instead he went to the Koenig Quickstep. Still, that was roughly where Veldeman was with the group that ended up at about 6.5 minutes. So he ended up a good 2 minutes to the good on where he would have been, which would have been somewhere around 12th to 14th. Now, that's not a huge points haul, but that is a World Tour race. So it's certainly worth something. In 8th place there. As a team, we have 127 World Tour points. Or nothing? How is that nothing? There's no way that was worth 0 points. That was the total I already had. Prize money, yeah, not big. Also not a big deal. It did boost us in sponsor confidence, so I like that. Actually, both of our last 2 results. Let's see if there was any difference a day on here. No. Rules. Races. Scale. No, there we go. We want not the Grand Tours. Okay, it should be the Classics, not the Major. Should be right in here, right? Maybe the B set. Yeah, there it is. So, World Tour points, 8th place, 75. But Super Prestige, yeah, that should have been worth 51 points. 0 were added to the total. So, I had already made discoveries in PCM 19 that there were some flaws in this where it says certain races were worth X amount of points, but then those points weren't being assigned. Well, it turns out that it's the same for PCM 18. So there are races, because I have the exact same total that I had prior to that race right now. So those points were not added in. We should have had 51 points there. Next up is the Ronde van Vlaanderen. This is one of the major ones, and same thing. It's another classic. So of course Veldeman's going to be there, and he is on his fitness peak, so that certainly helps. But he just doesn't have that team support that makes a big difference. But as these are high-profile races, any successes that Veldeman can pull off, any top 10s especially, are very valuable to the sponsor confidence side of things. It'll push us into April now. And at this point, and at this rate, I'm going to bypass having to deal with cuts. If you've watched the channel long enough, you know that it's still a small channel, still building. I mean, I still have fewer than 600 subs right now, which is still awesome. I mean, if you were watching it this time last year, we were just hitting 150 or so at this point. So, no. Actually, still not even to 100. It's been since 2019 that I broke 100. So, a lot of progress for the channel from where I was a year ago. But it's still a small channel. And anyway, I do not do this for a living. In fact, I've never earned a single cent for what I do for this channel. So it's still absolutely a hobby. I'd like it to be more than just a hobby one of these days. But for now, it's a hobby. So I am on limited time. And apparently there's another race here that I did not know was coming up. Are these both on the same day? They are. Okay, I'm going to save my doctor for the Ronde van Vlaanderen. And we'll quick sim the other race, which is this one, so no doctor. It's not an objective, so we'll just see what our results were. Shortbacks takes 6th overall. It's not too bad considering got some stronger riders. There were World Tour teams there. Quality sprinters in Wouter Wippert, Magnus Cort Nielsen, not a pure sprinter by any means, but he's a classics guy with a good sprint, 76-77. And those guys are outside of the top 10. And what do we have here? Lots of turn of the month kind of news. New prototype, XTLR. There it is. Okay, this one, comfort's there for the most part. It's the reliability and feeling that weren't quite there, so hopefully that'll become something. We're closer to understanding the new frame. Nothing else there that we need to check out. Anyway, having not earned anything, I still very much do other work. My wife and I own a business that we run out of our home. I'm sure you've heard them. Why I did not send the doctor to the other race. Why is the doctor not available? Not cool. Anyway, I have a daycare. We run it out of the bottom floor, live upstairs. The office is upstairs. I'm above that. I'm sure you hear them every once in a while coming through on the videos. Those are not my kids. That's the daycare kids. I do not have kids. My wife and I have been married for closing in on a decade now, but we have no kids of our own. So I handle the business side of it. She works with the kids all day. I help with the kids occasionally in between filming videos, in between editing, rendering videos, posting videos. But then also, I used to be a school teacher. Stepped away from that, had enough of the politics of it, especially in the U.S., where things are a bit of a mess politically inside and outside of schools. But I do still work at the school that I used to teach at as a coach. So I coach volleyball. I actually have a volleyball game later tonight. I coach girls basketball and boys basketball. And then I coach track. So throughout the entire school year, I have one sport after another. And then I have summers off for that. So if you count this hobby as one, I have 3 jobs. So I stay very, very busy anytime anytime that I can save a little bit here and there, time-wise, I take advantage of that. Especially because in my free time, I still play soccer on the weekends, a couple games every weekend, and beat myself up. I'm not as young as I used to be. Tore my calf a year and a half ago. It never fully recovered from that. It still gives me issues. I broke my back when I was in the Army, also giving me issues. So, you know, I'm a little fragile at my age, and with still playing soccer and still playing hard. Body's just not quite taking the abuse as well as it used to. Anyway, long story short, I'm taking advantage of the opportunity to save a little bit of time on this episode by not having to go back and edit and render the video. And that's going to save me a couple hours of a combination of my time and the computer's time for the rendering side of it. Alright. Now, what are we in for? Well, we're in for another mess of a lot of climbs, a lot of cobbled sections, very, very steep in areas. So, we're kind of back to that same setup. Veldeman today, lovely +3. His cobble today is at 80. So we absolutely ride for him. That much was obvious. Van Ginniken, Case Bowl, probably our next best bets. So let's go ahead and give protection to those guys. It's the same riders out here, so let's see. Kind of the free man in between. Is that going to be DeVos? Or is that Osorio? No, it's DeVos. So try to keep DeVos around for a while. And everybody else on protection. Everybody else we speed up. And again, like the last one, which was a little less prestigious than this race is, we have a very similar state of affairs. The first roughly half the stage is totally flat, and then it just goes all crazy to the finish with cobbles and climbs and cobbles and climbs and just brutal racing. Right now the weather looks nice. We'll see if that holds. Not much wind. Just at an 8. Osorio has taken a nosedive. Looks like hey, Osorio. Can you get up? Okay, he's up just off the back. He'll make contact again almost right away. And we can get him right back into position. Protecting Veldeman. There you go. Speed it back up. Now, the break this time, that's a big margin. They've got 5 minutes. It's 10 riders. The contents of that break, Lamarck, Duel, Andre Greipel's in there. Nikias Arndt, Spielag. That's a talented group, some of them anyway. I can absolutely tell you that group will not stay as 10 terribly long. They will see splits. And we are starting to also see a point in time where it's going to make sense to get some water before we start hitting all the cobbled sections. It's 160K to go, so we're going to need to water at least twice more. This is a crazy, crazy long race today. 150. Okay, here we go. Heading into the cobbled sections. We're going to go quickly through these first sections, though. But 84 might not be suitable. Let's speed it up. Make sure we don't get ourselves hammered and dropped. Gap's already down to under 2 minutes. I'm really surprised that the breakaway allowed us to pull that much time back and that they didn't accelerate. Okay, here we go. Next section. Big uphill. It's brutal. A lot of time's been lost here. 50 riders in this group, including my entire team, outside of Veldeman. Feldman's in a peloton of 36.
Several riders are on the ground.
And a big group just got dropped. Oh, we got split because of it too. So the peloton is actually out ahead of us. We should regain contact with those 15 riders. Come on. Don't slide backward, Veldman. This is not your position, remember? You're supposed to be at the front of the group. 2-star section. Let's do a little acceleration here. We need to make our way up. Alright, so the 10 riders still off front. Stayed together, have not attacked each other, but look at what happened to that gap. I anticipated that they would attack each other and split off, and they'd be down to 3 or 4 riders already. But Tish Benut with the puncture. Quick step, going from 5 riders down to 4. Now I'm to the front of the peloton, and it's back together. My entire team is back in this thing, and they're already making their way forward. That was unexpected. Okay, Keegan Swerble is getting dropped. Set him to auto. Swerble was protecting somebody somewhere. Let's go with DeVos to take over on Feldman, and Osorio, you're going to take over on Case Bull. Actually not a fan of this all coming back together the way it did, because now the breakaway is back to 3 minutes. Feldman caught behind a group there, and look how quickly you go backwards when that happens. 4 stars, 2K. 3 minutes to that group. They really opened that gap up.
Some riders try to use the verge to avoid the cobbles, but it's at the risk of getting a flat tire. The lead is being cut. A couple of teams have set themselves up as pacemakers.
Come on, guys. Get out of there. Get out of there.
Don't have anybody in the breakaway group.
Sorio's toast. Gouillard's toast.
It seems to be catching.
Voss is toast. He's going backward. And we're down to 3 guys at the front. Not officially seeing any splits right now, but now we're starting to. 69 riders left. Let's see, Van Ginneken or Bull. Case Bull's the stronger one, so Van Ginneken, get up there. Swerble with a puncture, poor guy.
There's another rider with a puncture. The sides of the road are not a tire's best friend.
Okay, 1 of the 10 have been dropped. Pulling him back quickly, but it's still 3 minutes to the other 9. I have my 3 guys at the front, and that's all that's left. This group, it looks like they're going to be gaining contact. We've got quite a while before we hit the next cobbled section. This is the biggest break before we really make kind of the final push. But there's still a couple climbs through here, and then, yeah, then you have all of that. So back up to 90. If DeVos can get there, we'll get him to protect Case Bull. $89 riders. Really want to speed this up because I'm running out of time for this episode. DeVos not catching up, so he's just kind of struggling on the back end of the group. Gap to the 9 is down to 2.5 minutes, so we've pulled back 30 seconds. Once we hit these cobbled sections, it's really going to take off on us quickly. DeVos finally has actually recovered here. Let's try to get him to protect Case Bull. We have water. Somebody got water for me. Good job. Somebody on auto. Here we go. 4 stars, 1.4K. I want to move forward. Come on. Gotta be in the middle for that. Get to the outside, and you just get swallowed. Feldman suffering from the split here. Come on, sprint, sprint, sprint. Cover that gap, because that's the winning group right there already. Van Ginneken, auto. Look how far back these guys are. Look how far back these guys are. Just like that. Just like that. That was crazy how big these gaps suddenly opened up And Veldeman, even though I was trying to go on the increased effort, got left behind. He could still cover it right here. There we go. Okay, he's back in the group. We have a peloton of 37 now. At the moment it says 64, but it's not gonna stay this way. There we go. Okay. 21 riders. Get to the front, get to the front, and sit up. Now, how are we looking? Next little section. Ooh, gosh, here we go again. Right into the next one. Right into the next one. I don't need to go 96, but I do need to go to the front. There we are.
It's in such percentages that the strongest can create some gaps.
Now, there's only 4 riders left on the front. Veldeman is in the right position this time. 700 meters, 4-star.
There's an attack in the leading group. Some riders were not giving it their all in sharing the pace.
Now I can sit up. Now I have a group of 6. See how that works? You get in the right position. Mads Peterson, Turgis, Oliver Nassen, Gaviria, and somebody else. We're up to 13. Stefan Mark, Stuyven, Valgren, Niels Paul. This is the winning group right here. We'll see if the others can catch us, but 12 chasing 3. The 3, Lamarck, Duel, Guarnieri. Into another section. This one's not as bad, but there's a double, one right immediately after, plus a third after that, but these sections are not as bad right now. We're just going to establish our position over the front if these guys can't stay with us anyway. So 3 of the original 10 still there. And we're down to, it looks like, 21. And Veldeman's doing just fine. He'll get through this one as well. But let's just make sure nothing happens. Just want to go to the front. Not attacking. Not attacking. Just comfortably riding the front. So at the moment, Turgis and I have gotten off the front, but I'll just sit on here.
To give the pack the slip.
Alright, there's the break. Oh, hello. Big attacks. 22 riders now. Break's been caught. And the pressure's on. Let's see if Veldeman can recover at all through this. Another climb. This one's doing a little damage. 48K to go. And this is a long, long time left as the group is now down to 20 riders. So we're already looking at the top 25 here. Got to make sure I don't suddenly run out of energy. Actually, I need to really go into recovery mode for the next little bit. We've got a downhill coming up. It's going to be a good opportunity to get back a little bit. Just 4 cobbled sections left. There we go, Veldeman. Veldeman, good, good. Yeah. Sit up, recover, recover, recover. Good. Okay. Alright. Here we go again.
Currently, there's another puncture. The riders really should pay more attention to their choice of tires.
Okay. Ready to up the effort if need be. There's 6 riders off front. Teachminute, Turgis, Pollitt, Van Avermaet, Peterson, and Sagan.
The weather plays a vital role in any race, but when there's
37K.
its contribution can be vital. If it rains, a rider's agility is far more important than when it's dry.
14 riders left, and I'm toast.
Another rider with a flat tire. The road
But
is
we
really
will
treacherous.
recover some here. But this next section's going to maybe destroy me. Little recovery, little recovery. Wow, 600 meters, 10%. 3-star though. Come on, Veldeman. Hang in there. Hang in there. It's a group of 14. You can slide backwards.
Riders jockeying for position at the front.
and it all split up for now.
There's another rider with a puncture. The sides of the road are not a tire's best friend.
Right now we'd be fighting for 8th place, and that might be the case. Gap's opening up a little bit further, but now Volgren, Van Mark,
A team leader is falling behind.
they're giving the chase here. Just don't drop the wheel. Jansen, Terpstra, Van Aert, Gugart. This is a heck of a group we're in. This is a much higher profile race than that last one, and you can really see it in the makeup of the riders that are here. Van der Poel, one of the only surprises of not being present. So 7 off the front, 7 in my group, but all 14 are just right here. The one behind is Niels Pollitt, and he's just behind, so not yet safe here. And there you go. There, I'm getting dropped. Can I catch? Nope, that's a lapped rider. That is a lapped rider, so that is not somebody I can latch onto. 26K to go. This is still a long distance to cover. And this guy essentially does not exist. That's why I'm ghosting him right now. Get some water. It's a minute 25 behind me. The 13 all just came together. Really? Little recovery. Come on. Still Pollitt. Van Kiersbulk, and then Taylor Phinney behind that. These guys aren't that far ahead of me, but the problem is for afterward. Now I've got a good cobble rating, I just don't have everything else, so we're going to push through the cobbles. I don't have the energy already, so I might as well just push through and go whatever pace I can with a 99.0 energy kind of effort, because it's going to make a big difference over the riders behind me. This is more riders to lap. Oh, there's Osorio. We're lapping Osorio, so it's a 31-minute lap. Hi. How you doing, buddy? These are all lapped riders. None of these are in the top 13. Wow, Gourmet also getting lapped.
The riders really have to be vigilant on this cobbled section. The vibrations.
But you can see just how much faster I was than all these other guys.
The finish line is getting close. The riders have just passed the 15 kilometers.
Okay, we're going right away into the next one.
Yet another flat tire. It seems to be catching.
Right away into the next one. Come on. We're just staying on 99. Here we go. All right, continue to lap more riders. There's Swerble.
Counter-attack by Peter Sagan.
That's 30 minutes to him at this point. And now Veldeman, 5 minutes down overall. Well out of contention. Gap behind is... it's holding. So yeah, we'll just stay at 99. Finish line, 9K away. Veldeman's flat rating's a 76, so even though he's very tired here, he's still putting out a decent pace, just no energy. 5K to go to the finish. Overall, it's 1K to go, so we're 4K behind the leader. And Peter Sagan takes the win. Mads Pedersen takes second. Jasper Stuyven takes third for this one after winning the other one. Van Avermaet takes fourth. Volgren comes up to fifth. Van Aert, Turgis, Van Mark, Bugard, Jansen, Terpstra, Nawson, Tish Benut. I should be riding for 14th. Still, yes, I am 14th. So, not top 10, but top 25 comfortably. 14. I was with the group. I was the last one dropped, really, until they kind of blew up at the end. They weren't spread out as far as I was comparatively. And then here comes the rest of the field. So, for essentially a solo ride there for Veldeman, he had no team support from way out. I mean, that was a good 70, 80 kilometers to go or something like that when the rest of the team was dropped. Van Ginneken took 76th. Again, with I'd say that's a good result, especially when the competition level was so much higher. Finishing ahead of Niels Pollitt, Bosenhagen, Demar. That is quality Classics riders. Feldman's a decent Classics rider, but just about all those guys there are World Tour riders that had team support for a good chunk of the race that we couldn't compete with. So, 14th, I'll take it. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. And remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So if you're ready to join me on my journey, hit subscribe and tune in next time on my road to the record. Bye for now.